I've talked about Deshaun Watson before, and now it's like more information coming out about the whole shit. And I'll be honest, I didn't really completely do my due diligence into really looking into the stories the first time, because I had my opinions about what probably went down. And just to be clear, I don't necessarily think that I was just way off base. I do now have more information that makes me kind of so like Deshaun Watson is definitely a nasty man. See all this shit, y'all. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but I'm setting up all my changed my Wi-Fi, so I'm setting up some shit with my fucking alarm, and it needs to be set up. And yeah, basically it just my house keeps scaring the shit out of me, y'all. I'm just too nervous to be in the house by myself like this. I oh man, but all of these robot lady voices, they need to chill, bro. They gotta chill. Anyway, I was talking about Deshaun Watson. I was saying that he's definitely a nasty, nasty man. Like that's what I could tell you for certain. And I don't know. Let's go through before I recant my take, because I do. It's kind of like on the Cosby shit for me, right? There comes a point where a piece of what you like to do, and I don't want to like get too far ahead on this, but like a piece of what gets you off is like the piece that makes it fucked up. You know what I'm saying? And like that is really questionable, and that makes you think like, what else do you like get? So like I said, we're gonna go through this article, and we're gonna parse through it in a little bit more, uh, you know, whatever. We're gonna go through this all at one time. Okay, this is a Yahoo Sports report. Um, Deshaun Watson met with at least 66 women for massages in 17 months, and the Texans may have enabled behavior. Okay, just like to stop right there. I don't know if y'all remember, but that is kind of one of the things that I was saying from the jump. The fact that once Deshaun Watson requested a trade, all of a sudden it was like all these allegations just like start coming out of nowhere. It seemed to me that this was something that the Texans were like holding back from, like it was like, while you're our quarterback, we're gonna make sure that nothing comes out. But like once he said he wanted a trade, then they were looking at him as if, oh, so we done all this to cover up your little dirt, but now you just want to leave just because we're not winning. You know what I'm saying? Like you fucking ungrateful. And if you a marginalized person of any sort, which you know the white man does not like, is no ungrateful ass niggas. We giving you millions of dollars and let you do all this weird shit. You know what I'm saying? We let you do your little weird ass shit, and we don't call you weird for it. We cover it up for your little weird ass. And then what do? You shit on us? That's how that's just but that's all conjecture. So let's get back to the article. Former Houston Texans and current Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson met with at least 66 women for massages during a span of 17 months from late 2019 to early 2021. A detailed report from the New York Times on Tuesday alleges. The Times also reports that Texans team security provided a non-disclosure agreement to Watson that he later employed during massages, as well as a hotel room where at least 7 women met the star quarterback for sessions. So, what that sounds like to me is he did some goofy shit, and somebody was gonna come public with it, and the team was like, you need to start making these women sign non-disclosure agreements off the rip because you're a nasty man. and you're gonna do some problematic shit, and we need some legal barrier to protect us, and we still probably gonna have to give them some money, but you know, just help us help you type shit. I genuinely think, and then also, I'm gonna keep reading, but from what I understand, some of those massages he was getting in team facilities, I feel like the reason they got him the hotels because it was like, and stop bringing them motherfuckers here. Y'all see, I almost be saying it, but I don't say it. Stop bringing them women here. Don't do that here. Do that off work grounds, nigga. So anyway, the report follows 2 additional civil lawsuits being filed against Watson in the past 7 days, raising his number of outstanding lawsuits to 24. All of those suits are alleging either sexual misconduct or sexual assault. The most recent litigation from the past 7 days raised a handful of new allegations, including that Watson once entered into a settlement negotiations that would have paid 22 accusers $100,000 each to settle out of court, and that he solicited more than 100 massages with strangers through social media. So that part, I had kind of said something about that when I was saying that I think there's an overlap here. Let me say that. I think that there are, I don't know this to be true 100%, but honestly, when you just think of the way this shit works in the era that we're in now, I am almost 100% certain that there are women online who are offering massage services that are actually prostitutes, who are like offering those services as a guise for prostitution because you cannot offer prostitution online. I'm also sure that there are women who went to school for massage therapy who offer their services online because social media is a really good way to market yourself, right? So when they say that he solicited over 100 massages with strangers, quote unquote, I think the reason why you have like 66 women who say that they've given him massages, but only 24 of them saying that it's misconduct is because there's a good portion of those women who kind of knew what they were there for, because that's literally what they were there for on their end. Not to say, because I think when I said this before, I kind of gave the impression that like they should have known better. And that's actually not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that for what they were doing, there were some women who were willingly going into it. And even though, and this is the common denominator that I've drawn from everything that I'm seeing. I don't think even with those women, he said something beforehand about is there a potential for a happy ending, or do you offer services beyond just that massage? I don't think that he ever said anything to any of those women. I think that he probably does some weird pull my dick out and start beating it in front of you shit to any of them, to all of them, all the women, right? But I think that some of those women were there kind of in the role of a prostitute. So like a nigga pulling his dick out and starting to beat it in front of a prostitute it's not really sexual assault. Like that's what they came here to do, literally, right? But I think that that's the part, and I'm kind of getting ahead a little bit, but I think that that's the part that he gets off on. I think that he gets off on the just doing it anyway about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to do this and just see how you react and see how you play it. And I think that that's why a nigga with millions of dollars is paying $150 for massages. That was another point that I was trying to make initially. Like, if a millionaire is paying $150 for a massage, he ain't really trying to get a high quality sports massage, because that doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, it literally just doesn't. That's not 1 + 1 = 2. That's dumb to me. So to me, that part was obvious. It was just, I didn't look into it deep enough to see, kind of what else was going down. So anyway, okay. Tuesday's report from the Times draws more detail to how Watson was allegedly interacting with some of the women who provided massages including claims that he begged for oral sex and repeatedly sexualized massage sessions with a wide swath of women who met him. The content of the report appears to shed a light on the most recent lawsuit filed by Houston attorney Tony Busby, who represents the 24 women currently suing Watson. In the 24 suit filed Monday, Busby detailed a narrative in which Watson allegedly displayed a pattern of interacting with women under the guise of massage therapy before shifting his sessions towards sexual encounters. The Times reports details of some of those alleged experiences through interviews with women are either suing Watson or claim to have encountered him through massage solicitations. Watson's attorney, Rusty Hardin, didn't immediately comment Tuesday. The report also draws the Texans deeper into the Watson investigation with allegations that a director of team security, Brent Nakara, provided Watson with an NDA to use during the period in which Watson was accused of having sexualized massage therapy. And that's what I was saying too. This makes the Texans look bad, like they knew about it, which they clearly did. That NDA was allegedly provided after one of Watson's accusers, Nia Smith, published a photo on Instagram showing Watson's phone number and some Cash App receipts. Along with the photo, she added a message stating, "I could really expose you," along with the explicitive. The Times reports that Watson began employing the NDA and he was given by the Texans the same week. Okay. Just to run this back real quick. And sometimes you really do. I preface these things because I want it to be clear, not because I feel like, oh, you have to or else you get canceled type shit. I think that's whack. I think that's a trash reason to do shit. I understand that there are women who suffer abuse and like it ends up being like a pattern of abuse. In particular, people who like you like have to be around and like other things like that. This for me, if you go to meet up with a nigga once and you supposed to be giving him a massage and he starts pulling his dick out and starts being weird as fuck about it, right? And also, and I could be wrong, but none of these accusers seem to have like and then he just was like, oh my bad. Like it's all like kind of like weird the way he get down. He's a real weird motherfucker. I've come to that conclusion for certain. But my whole point is he does his weird ass shit like once, twice, like every time you go do the massage, he do this weird ass shit. You're like okay with that weird ass shit in exchange for the money. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that means that doesn't mean at any point that you could become a victim. But even just to like later on be on some like I could really expose you, but then it just on a more human level, this is not me like trying to over intellectualize this. I'm just saying the vibes that particular instance gives is I know what you're doing is on some weird shit because of the way you came at me about it. Like kind of what I was saying earlier, the vibe that it gives to me, honestly, is that a girl who is fine being a prostitute, like she is a sex worker. There we go. What it appears to me is that he solicited a sex worker for a massage, and the way that he came at her for the sex work let her know that had she not been a sex worker, he would have still come at her that way, and she was cool with it because that's what she does, and whatever. And at some point, he either crossed a line with her, or like he treated her in a way, because to me also like a part of that like going for women who are doing this for $150, like it's like speaks to a certain like bracket of woman. And I don't mean that to say that money is everything, but when you have resources, you could just pay more money to get what you want. And that's not what he wanted. In my opinion, he wanted women who needed the $150. You know what I'm saying? In some way. So that, and also because it creates such a big power gap that it's like, if you ever tried to come for me, I'll just crush you. Right? So I think that he does that on purpose. I think all predators do that kind of thing on purpose. And I hate to comfort a nigga like this because honestly, I hate to comfort any black man like this. But, bruh, I got once with the Bill Cosby thing. I really cut for Cosby for too long. When it was really obvious that it's a whole bunch of women who saying that this motherfucker is on some hella weird shit. He probably fucking is. You know? So, yeah, that's the vibe that gives me. The I could really expose you. It gives me sex worker who was like privy enough, like smart sex worker. Like I know what kind of nigga you are. And yeah, I'm in the position I'm in, but I bet you, in her mind, I bet she was thinking, I bet you money. Without even having to ask around, I bet you money. If I wouldn't have been okay with it, you would have still done it. I could just tell, you know? Because it's probably, it's layers, levels to get into to prostitute. You probably anyway. The report further details a room that the Texans allegedly provided Watson at the Houstonian Club and Spa during a period in which Watson was soliciting the massages. The Times report says that at least 7 women met Watson at that hotel. Watson said in a disposition that he was unaware of whether or not the Texans knew about the massages he was getting. Reached for comment by Yahoo Sports, Texans denied knowledge of allegations against Watson before March of 2021. So they saying they didn't even know that anyone had said anything about this before March 2021. But that's not true because they handed them the NDA after that. Or before that. They were like, you need to start giving these women NDAs because you're a nasty man. As we previously stated, our organization was first made aware of the allegations involving Deshaun Watson through social media post in March 2021. The Texans Director of Communications, Omar Mazzoub, I don't want to butcher that man's name, said in a statement, since then, understanding the serious nature of the allegations, we have cooperated with every investigation regarding this matter and will continue to do so moving forward. Reported portions. Yeah. Reported portions of Watson's deposition also published. The Times piece also reportedly contains portions of Watson's depositions taken in a swath of civil lawsuits and one public exchange. Watson is asked if he asked about the experience, skill level, or training of one woman he had contacted. Watson alleged that wasn't a priority and that he just wanted a massage. See, like, this is a nigga who not even like capping. And that's what I was saying too a little bit. It's that, that friend, it wasn't a priority whether or not they were good at massages because I wasn't really trying to get a massage. I was trying to get some head. You know what I'm saying? Um, in another alleged deposition exchange, Watson was asked about reaching out to a flight attendant on Instagram who began taking massage therapy lessons during the pandemic. The deposition uh, excerpt according to the Times, Busby, can you explain why you reached out to her on Instagram rather than just using a therapist you had used before? Because I needed a massage therapy. Busby, okay. You could have just used somebody you used before, right? Watson, yeah, I could have. Busby, you could, yeah, you didn't, but you didn't, did you? Watson, I did not. Busby, you could have used the Texans, right? Watson, definitely possible. Busby, but you didn't, did you? Watson, I did not. Prior to the most recent lawsuits, in Tuesday's report, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell had stated that the league's investigation into Watson was wrapping up. However, the league was never given a definitive timeline for the judgment on whether Watson violated the NFL's personal conduct policy. Instead, the league has characterized the investigation as ongoing as other lawsuits and reports have developed. So it's like, we're not going to suspend this nigga yet because it's not enough. We think it's still more women to tell us what he did. Is that what we saying right now? That's the vibe I'm getting. Um, Given that context, the most recent suits in the Times report will likely be absorbed by NFL investigators before any final decision is reached on a potential Watson suspension. Um, and also, man, y'all got to remember, Deshaun Watson signed like man, I think it was $250 million non or a completely guaranteed contract or some shit like that with the Browns after the 22 had came out. It's only been 2 new allegations since he signed that contract. They knew. Then he'll probably get suspended from the NFL anywhere from 8 games to a year, year and a half. They were still willing to pay him that money because one thing about the NFL, they don't give a fuck about this kind of shit. They like, oh, you beat women, oh, you kind of rapey, you got these like, oh, it's whatever. It's not really a big deal. Um, and that's not the vibes. It's really not. I don't know, y'all. I don't want to make this a big referendum on the NFL because I feel like we all know the NFL is pieces of shit. Like we know the NFL has always been how they are. Um, so it's no point in really even making them the center of this, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's anything else I really have to say about this. I'm trying to make sure I'm not really missing out on nothing because I really did say pretty much what I wanted to say before. I don't think. Oh, I do know what it was. I knew it was something I was missing out on. And I may have touched on this a little bit, but it's kind of my biggest point I want to make about Deshaun Watson. What I realized about him more than anything else is that the reason why he's super problematic at this point, and at this, I'm really willing to. You, you remember when I was saying about the Meg Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez thing? You could just shut the fuck up and wait to see how it plays out instead of making an opinion about some shit before it's all there, right? For me, 24 women is enough for me to start to really form my solid opinion. 22 really was. I just was kind of stepping back on it a little bit. You a sick motherfucker who got you like something about what you like is the part of it that make it wrong. You know, it's not enough that you just want to sleep with all these different prostitutes. You can easily do that. There are prostitutes everywhere, and at the level that he's at, fine as Deshaun Watson could be sleeping with prostitutes that you ain't even know is prostitutes. He could be literally picking his poison, bro, for money that he would never even miss. If he wanted $150 prostitutes, he could just have a litany of $150 prostitutes. Twitter says pussy is only $40. This nigga chose to do it this way because he likes it that way. You know? It's like that's the I can't think of the word, not the perversion of it, but the I really can't think of the word that I'm looking for right now, but uh the part of it that makes it almost a compulsion, you know, like they have to do it. They can't get off. That's the fetish part of it, is the taking advantage of a woman in a situation like that. That's where I'm coming to believe is the case with Deshaun Watson, and just little details about it, like the power dynamic. You wanting people who are separated from you in that way, in such a large gap power wise, where they would not really be comfortable coming against you. Um, and just all of the stories and patterns that I've heard, making it kind of seem where even did you walk this gray area to make it seem like, oh, I just didn't know any better. You know, well, all these other women are saying everything was cool. You know, and then all of a sudden I got these other women who are saying it's nothing. Like, that's why I use a lot. So I got a lot of different opinions. Because now you got to think, what's going to happen? They're going to find, out of those 24 women, they will find women out of those 24 who are not being honest. That is just the way it works. They will find women out of those 24 who are not being honest. It doesn't matter if they only find 2. Doesn't matter if I find 8. They will use those. Let's say they find 8 women, which I don't think they will. I'm not saying I think there's 8 out of the 24 women line, but let's say they find that many. They find 8 women. All you will hear about is 8 women were lying, and the others, oh, well, we can't really, the other 16. well, how do we really know? Because the others, like, they'll use those to taint the stories of the others, you see? And then it just gets cloudy and murky, and they're like, well, can we continue this? But what I have believed, especially by the way that he answers questions about people like this, they can't help the compulsion. They can't not do the thing. So no matter what, they'll always end up in that situation because they're never able to not do the thing. They're never able to just say, okay, I got away. I'm not going to do it anymore. They always go back to it because it's something about them that has to. They'll try and be smarter about it, but they'll always go back to that same behavior. So, unfortunately, I don't know what's going to happen at the end of that. I see it being a while before. What I think will happen, honestly, is in the name of hoping that he just stops doing this shit because he got off on it once. Like, he's going to pretty much get off on all of this just having to pay some money. But it's going to come back around. He'll be in Cleveland for a while, and next thing you know, on the Cleveland massage therapist group chats, they'll be talking about this nasty man who's the quarterback for the fucking Browns, who's doing the same shit he was doing in Houston and Cleveland. Because I just don't think people like that change or can stop. I think it's compulsive. But, yeah, so anything that I said about Deshaun Watson that fell short of that, yeah, I've gotta up my take on that one. I have to. It's not. I don't feel the same way about it that I did before, and it's really just because I looked more into it. And you know, I always say this too. This is something I always say. I ain't gonna lie. This is the thing that got me with the Cosby thing. I listened to like a whole podcast about the Cosby thing. Whenever I can listen to something or I can read in the information and I find so many stories and start to learn more of them, and so many of them start to sound so much like the truth that I find stories within all those stories that I don't believe match up, that's when I start to really think that, damn, this shit really happened. Because now I'm not discounting the whole thing anymore. It's 8 women. Like, when I was listening to the Cosby thing, there was like a bunch of women who basically said the exact same story. Like, Cosby did this, and this to me. Then it was like one woman who, she was just like, he did way more and it was way more aggressive and it just didn't sound like the same. I can't think of the word. Like what they would, oh man, not archetype, but the same. I really can't think of the word I'm looking for, but like the same kind of predator. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like the story you're telling is of a different kind of predator. Not that he is not that, because he clearly is, but that pattern doesn't line up. That's like not. It's like that's not his MO. That's not how he does it. You know, it's like if I steal, but you know I like to come in your house while you gone, and somebody like robs you at gunpoint with a mask on. They like, oh, it was that nigga Dre, and somebody's like, it probably wasn't Dre. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not how Dre get down. You feel what I'm saying? That's what I mean about how those stories lined up. It's to that point with the Deshaun Watson thing, where I've heard so many stories or read so many accounts from so many women that are basically the same thing, that I've like now heard accounts from women where I'm like, that sounds a little, that doesn't sound like what he does. And now I'm like, well, once I'm saying that, I'm like, I'm pretty much admitting that I'm sure that he does all of these things. So, yeah, Deshaun Watson, certified nasty man. And I think that he's gonna keep doing that shit until he ends up really getting in trouble for it. And that shit's garbage. That's all I got to say about that. I don't got much else for y'all in this bonus episode. I was gonna talk about a few more things, but I'm gonna jump right back on here tomorrow and give y'all another full length episode. But I owed y'all this. I had to come give y'all some shit or whatever. I am gonna post this on the YouTube. So if you want to see the video, hop on the YouTube. You can watch the video on YouTube at FTS Podcast. Thank y'all so much for holding your boy down. I've told y'all this before, but especially y'all, you know what I'm saying, who who got the subscriptions and shit like that, man. Y'all, you know, literally the engine that keep this thing moving. I appreciate everything as always. I'm gonna get some rest. I got a long week ahead of me. Father's Day is coming up. I wanted to do a Father's Day episode where I got a couple dads together, talked about like being fathers and things like that, but getting people together on that kind of notice and just kind of the work schedule that I'm about to have in the week leading up to that is kind of not, it's highly unlikely at this point. But I'll try and figure out something nice for y'all, something special for Father's Day. Maybe I'll take the day off for myself for Father's Day. Who the fuck knows? But, you know, as always, man, I love y'all. This has been real. I don't think it's nothing else. I got next episode. I'm going to read feedback. Next episode, we got a little bit of feedback to jump off. I think that's all I got for y'all, man. As always, I love y'all. It's been real. Peace. Fuck this shit.
Yeah, double up the respect. Came through the wire, fresh out the fire. My mic check. Leaning and rocking, feel it yourself. It's high tech. Moving pieces all on the board. My nigga trying to see billions. My gift to gab honest. Escape trials and tribulations, fighting your honor. Shark in the water, grabbing for paper like I'm Nirvana. Code of honor that I follow, my nigga, is worth billions. Homie, fuck your greasy granny them. He been slapping shit so long, they gotta come and Grammy him. He so fly, he walk on stars, solar systems carry him. Bank account status when they bury him. Billions. Make sure you say it 2 times. Dre, nigga, make sure you say it 2 times. Trying to see the salad with the croutons, laying the foes down like futons for the billions. Yeah, man, you're not tuning in. Fuck this shit podcast. Fuck this shit. And billions 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 and billions.